Hello, and welcome to Unlearning Out Loud, where we explore the things we were sure we knew until we didn't.
Because sometimes the smartest thing that you can say is, wait, what if there's more?
Or less to know. Welcome to the show. We are so excited, Melissa. I'm so excited for this second episode. Well, the third, if you count our promo that we recorded, which I thought was pretty fantabulous.
It was great. I enjoyed it.
I really have a high opinion of our work.
I do too.
I don't know if anybody else does or not.
Oscar worthy.
Yeah, I'm Mike Lee. That's Melissa Sadorf. And we have a special head in the room for those of you watching. Max Headroom. I'm dating myself. A friend of both of ours, Steve Jarris. Welcome to the show, Steve Jarris. Dr. Steve Jarris.
Thank you. Yes, don't forget the doctor. And thanks. I'm excited to be here. I'm a little nervous about the topic, though. Yeah, I guess if, Mike, you want to share why you think climate change is a hoax, I'm willing to listen.
You know, Steve, we said it wasn't going to be that kind of show. So we are really excited. As you can tell, we've invited Steve on the show because he's got a great sense of humor. And, he was warning us at the beginning. He said, he's kind of like if anybody is a Phoenix Suns fan, he's the Dylan Brooks of live broadcasting. He walks along the edge, right on that edge. And sometimes if you're going to get a guy that can walk on that edge and really push boundaries, sometimes they put their toe on the other side, but it will be okay. This is a podcast, not public broadcasting, right?
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We can just slap an explicit label on it and post it anyway.
There you go.
I've heard worse from the presidential podium the last couple of years, so I think it's okay now.
Last couple of days.
That is not a political statement. That is a factual statement. All right. Well, this episode, the last episode was pretty heavy, right? If you recall, if you didn't listen to the last episode, again, thought it was pretty good. Or as Larry David would say, pretty good. Really rooted into those things where, we think we're like our gut instinct is going to lead us down the right path all the time. So we really dove into that. But this time we thought, let's have a little more fun, right? So the first person that came to mind with fun was Steve. So let's get the three of us together and talk a little bit about some things that we have learned from Hollywood that, yes, they might just get you killed. So stay tuned if you want to live. I mean, how's that for a promo? What's going on in your world, though, before we get to the good stuff?
Well, I can tell you that, first of all, I should say that my newest grandchild is a week old. She's perfect, of course, takes after her grandmother. So that's wonderful. Little Ramona Maria. And really excited to also say that, I have a shopping list that I've got to start taking care of for the holidays coming up. And I hate shopping. I really hate shopping. And so Amazon, I'm really hoping you come through again this year where I don't have to step foot into a mall or into Costco. That would be lovely if I could do that. So, but I also, in light of the fact that we're going to be talking about Hollywood and its failures of us, I think that one of the things I like to highlight is this new book that's come out. It's called Blank Space. And it's by W. David Marks. It just came out this month. And it argues that 21st century culture has flattened. That we've traded subcultures and risk in our entertainment and in all aspects of our life for really safety. So culture really feels kind of the same-ish, which is really intriguing to me. I'm really interested in diving into the things that he talks about with film and their aversion to risk and platform logic, like the algorithms that we have in our social media contents that really reward familiarity. And they're not really nudging you to new ways of thinking or doing. And so I'm excited to dive into this book. So I'll have to report back when I've had a chance to read it. But Blank Space is the name of the book. So if you've read it, let me know how you liked it.
Well, we'll have to definitely hear about that because it does sound like an interesting topic. I do think that Steve and I were pretty excited to hear you tell the world about how you're going to do all of your shopping on Amazon, because we now know that those people that love to run up to the doorsteps and take people's packages, are all headed towards your house because you're literally getting everything. So, so that makes our delivery, Steve, I think our deliveries are going to be a little bit safer this year.
So, Melissa, just make sure you order some larges. I prefer a large. For when I...
Got it, Steve. Got it. Check.
Yeah, and if the larges are missing from your patio, he took them.
Now I know.
If balls are missing from your patio, I took them. So it's kind of a dead giveaway. So we really would make a bad criminal ring. We'd give ourselves away.
Honestly.
From this great stuff. Lots to talk about on the flattening topic. I think, I think that started quite a while ago, and we'll have to talk more about that in a future episode, I think. My little thing that I had to share about the week is, for people who know me, they know I'm a bit of a movie nerd, speaking of movies. And I get particularly hopped up around award season, knowing that the awards are completely and utterly ridiculous and meaningless. They mean nothing in any way, shape, or form. But I'm still that guy who sends out the brackets, basically the ballot.
No way.
I do. I have people, and every year I do. 1 year I only missed 2, and I do every single category. So
do you dress up? Do you throw a party?
I wear clothes. I dress up just like regular.
Do you make sure you see every nominated film?
Oh, good question.
I do. I see every Best Picture.
Yeah.
And I see every best, as long as it's been available or released. If it's a foreign flick that hasn't dropped yet in this country, I might have to wait. But I always see all the Best Picture nominees for sure, Best Director. And very rarely do I miss a Best Actor, Best Supporting Movie, unless it's there's been a couple that I've just put my foot down on, and I'm going, nope, that's award fodder garbage. I'm not going to go. The one where every year we got to have the actor play the lead singer of a rock band, or we've got to have and they just know they're going to get nominated automatically.
Like A Star Is Born, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So this year, I'm interested because there is some significant chatter out there that we might have 2, maybe 3 horror movies nominated for Best Picture this year. And we know, you talked about horror movies during your Halloween film session. Right now, the top. All the money is on is the new DiCaprio flick, One Battle After Another, is up there. Hamnet is up there, but Sinners, which I don't know if you saw Sinners, which was fantastic, and it's on HBO Max right now. Actually, I think if people haven't seen it, and I always say it's on HBO Max for free, but then you look at your credit card statement and it's not
free
at all. But that, and then actually, I should take that back. There's 3 potentials. There's Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein that is playing on Netflix right now, which I just watched the other night. Did you guys watch it yet?
Nope.
No.
Oh, it's
worth watching.
I thought it was fantastic. I'm a Guillermo nerd, but I enjoyed it very much. And then last, the border, dark horse is Weapons. The Josh Brolin and other, which was really, really creative horror. Not maybe as strong, but they are going to mount a campaign for those movies, the studios, to try to get them nominated for Best Picture. So I don't know. Did you see a movie you love to share at all that you would put in there, or is just take my word for it and we'll just nominate those?
I just saw Begonia.
Oh, how was it on my list?
That was fantastic. Incredibly well made. The director, the director.
Yeah. The Polish fella that made she's become, of course, I'm having a complete meltdown, and I won't say Polish names on when people are watching, but great director that did like The Lobster and Strange. I can't do this on call, but her last movie that she just won best
it was
yeah,
fantastic. Well made, very interesting. It was definitely worth seeing.
Which is a remake of a Korean cult movie. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, Korea has quite the cinematic. They've got a good 20-year track record of making some really, really good films. Some of which end up being remade here, and you wonder why did they remake them? But every once in a while, if you can remake one and it's done well, Sounds like this one is up there. I've been hearing the same thing from critics. That's on my list for the next week. So, Melissa, have you seen anything, or are you too busy doing grandbaby watch?
Honestly, I got to tell you, I haven't seen a movie for months. It's been way too long. And I don't take my husband because it's a $15 nap. So, I end up having to go alone. The last time I went to the movies with my grandson, and we saw the Minecraft movie. So that tells you how long it's been. So
yeah. Talk about flattening out of pop culture.
Right? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
He liked it, but he's 10. So,
That's whatever works, right? That had Jack Black in it, if I'm not mistaken,
it did.
right? Or his
it
voice,
did.
didn't
And it also had Jason Momoa.
Am I picking up some vibes there?
Yeah, he's a very nice looking man.
Yeah, well, yeah, he is quite the specimen. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, there you go. He's a character. Yeah, he is a character.
He's not at all what I envisioned Aquaman looking like after watching the cartoons in the 70s, but that's another conversation. But it worked. All right, well, hey, let's get to our unlearning this week. What do you say?
I love it. Let's do it.
Ready.
We've got some good stuff to talk about. I know we've all got our tropes here, and this is where, press your ear to the radio, boys and girls. You're going to want to hear all these things because movies have taught us a lot over the years, and most of it is not exactly grounded in any connection to reality. We've picked up all kinds of lessons from Hollywood that are like little lies wrapped in surround sound and popcorn smells that we just kind of walk away with. So we've decided, as a public service, because 3 of us are givers, we were going to hit on some things that if you're really waiting for these things to happen in your life or not happen, this is a life lesson for you. You'll mark this day that you listen to this podcast. I think so. So I want to tell you how this idea came into my head. There's a little backstory, if you'll bear with me. So, I mentioned in our last episode that I spend October watching horror movies because of Halloween. But classic ones, not classic ones, fun ones. I love cinematic horror. The last one I watched was Midsommar, which I'd seen before, but I thought it was great. The Witch is one of my favorite movies of all time. But I just had this itch. You ever get an itch to watch a movie is not good, especially from the 80s?
No.
No? Yeah.
All the movies in the 80s were great.
Yeah.
Well, but that if we rewatch it, it probably was not nearly as good as you thought.
I know. When you watch the, Star Wars, the first movie, it's not that great. But yes, I understand what you're talking about.
The hero's journey, bro. The hero's journey.
The hero's journey. I know.
I watched one that I wasn't allowed to watch. I saw some of it when I was a kid. And I remember seeing just enough of it at my friend's house who had the new HBO cable thing that none of us had. You couldn't get it through your rabbit ears. And we were in his house, and Halloween 3, the season of the witch, came on.
Ooh.
And Halloween 3 was, all I remember is this creepy ass song. Sorry, there goes the explicit we got to put on this episode. And it would go and they would show these little kids, and they had to wear these masks. They wear these rubber masks like a pumpkin, a witch, or a goblin or something. And they have these commercials for these masks that all the kids were supposed to go to buy. And every day before Halloween, the commercial would change. It'd be like, 6 more days till Halloween, 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 silver shamrock. So the whole plot of the story is that it's a complete mess. But basically, they're selling all these rubber masks to kids all across the world and they've got a little chip in the back of them with a little bit of the energy from Stonehenge. Don't ask. You got to watch the movie to understand how. And if all the kids are watching in front of the TV for the big special giveaway on Halloween night, something really horrible is going to happen to all these children. So the whole thing is about uncovering this massive plot that may or may not involve aliens, may or may not. I watched.
You keep talking. It's getting worse.
No, it's terrible. And it has nothing to do with the other Halloween movies. There's no Michael Myers. There's no nothing. It's a totally different standalone story. So anyway, I remember thinking, well, that one seemed, I'm going to watch this because it was on one of the 4 free 73 streamers that I have. And the movie started with the scene of this guy running away in the dark. running down a dark highway, and he's running down the streets, and there's a car behind him. And the best part was, this was like early 80s, late 70s car. So it was like 87 feet between these two headlights. Like, it was just massive. Like, how did they fit this on the road kind of cars? And I'm sure it was a Buick or an Oldsmobile, I'm guessing. Anyway, it's chasing him, but it's not chasing him particularly fast. You can see the silhouette of two, hatted, is that a word? Hatted men who are following him. And he is running down the center of this highway for a very long time. Now, I'm going to give something away and say they catch him, and it doesn't end well. When I'm sitting there watching, I'm thinking,
I can watch it.
Me either. You gave it away.
How many times have I seen this in a movie where a person is being chased by a bad guy, normally, and they run down the middle of the street? They don't veer to the right. They don't veer to the left. They don't run off into the cornfield. They don't. I mean, it turns up in movie after movie after movie where you think you can get away by right. So the message that has been sent to movie viewers all across the world who may find themselves in danger someday, that it's not an option to go off the road when you're being chased by someone in a 1979 Oldsmobile, that running into the cornfield where you could just disappear is not an option. This isn't one of those self-contained video games where you're going to bump into something. Go left, go right. Don't be predictable. That's my first movie chase, or movie trope, which is car chase down the center of the street. It's driven me nuts for years and years and years. So, Melissa, what about you?
Hey, Mike, I'm just going to interject on that and just say, I can't wait for somewhere down the road, one of the 8 people watching this podcast are going to be chased down the middle of the road, and they're going to think, oh, wait a minute, Mike said I could go to the side. So, future viewer, you're welcome for saving your life.
Well, and Steve, I'd like to know where the other 7 people are, because I know my mom will tune in. I don't know about your parents. And I'm pretty sure my mom would have probably gotten pretty tired by now. Actually, in our last episode, Steve, I shared a story about a deviant behavior I had about changing report card grades. And
it's terrible.
Episodes that we should potentially consider, nestling these little tell on myself stories to find out if our parents are listening. Because if they're not,
good. Oh, that's so good. That's
right?
Evil.
Yeah, well, that's so, we need to, bury little Easter eggs. So, Melissa, what is a movie trope that you want to, inform the public about?
So one of the things that is in absolutely every action movie I have ever seen, and I've seen a number of them, but people get hit in the head, they get knocked out and they get right back up. And it's truly, when you get a concussion, it is a brain injury. It's not a reset button that you can jump up from and get back into the fight. If somebody is dazed and confused, that's a medical issue. It's not a cinematic trope. I mean, it's a problem. So I want to say to people that are out there that think that in a fight, if they get knocked out, they're going to get back up and win it. It's probably not going to happen. So here's the learning. When in doubt, sit it out.
Oh, spoken like a true educator.
Right? There you go.
I love it. Yeah, and as anybody in the NFL can tell you, people stopped running around with concussions after about 72, I think. Jack Lambert or Rocky Blyer, or, I think I'm rattling off old Steelers.
Yeah.
They just plumped into my head. So, well, Steve, I have been dying to know which tropes you were going to bring to the table. And here's unveil.
Well, I just want to get some rules clarified here that,
we're all about
I had my notes on the sheet, and Melissa just took my first one.
So, I love that. That's awesome.
And then, the power of getting people, they underestimate the impact of getting hit. And I was watching the remake of Roadhouse, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor are MMA fighters. I'll give those guys all the benefit of just getting knocked around, but not Joe the bouncer who lives in the neighborhood, who takes a punch and gets back up, and then Billy Bob Thornton and Landman is just getting pummeled, and he's just still standing there and talking, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So I had the same one. So do you want a new one?
Yes.
Well, I would, but I do want to chime in on that one because you know what the all-time greatest on that trope is? I consider it
the Rocky movies.
Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rocky 1, 2, and 3, I almost could let myself believe, but Rocky 4 is the best superhero movie, with apologies to Christopher Nolan, ever made, because none of that could have possibly happened.
with Drago.
You know, and it gave us that great line, "Roll it down, brother, goddamn down." Sorry,
Awesome.
for those of you who are, or like your Popeye, it's a spinach. I mean, the movie's just loaded with lines. So
I forgot my drinking game. I was going to take a shot every time Mike quoted a movie directly.
Oh, you won't last you won't last the podcast.
I know. So all right.
go ahead and do another one, Steve.
My trope is the impression that you can eat whatever you want and look like Brad Pitt in his finest. And speaking of Brad Pitt, for one, I just learned this. He eats in every movie, and I've noticed that, but he does it intentionally as an acting choice that adds more depth so that he's not just standing there talking, he's doing something. But in Ocean's 11, he's eating nachos, he's eating a hot dog, he's eating shrimp cocktail later on. He eats in every movie, and yet we're expected to believe that you can look like Brad Pitt and eat like that. It's destroying me because I've been eating a lot of hot dogs and I'm not looking like Brad Pitt.
When was Ozempic around when he was filming Fight Club?
Good call.
I don't think so.
I don't think it was. I do remember. I'm trying to remember. One of my favorite Brad Pitt roles was actually a small one in True Romance.
I don't remember that one.
Romance. Oh, classic. Quentin Tarantino wrote the story, sold the script to Tony Scott so that he could have money to make Reservoir Dogs. Tony Scott directed it. It's got Christopher Walken, Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette,
Christopher Walken in Sunshine.
Gary Oldman, Dennis Hopper. I mean, it's just a loaded movie. But there is Brad Pitt plays a stoner roommate who's the roommate of Michael Rappaport. And I don't remember if he's eating, but I would bet there were probably munchies on the table because he's stoned in the two scenes he does.
Oh, he's doing brownies then.
Yeah, well, no, he's got here's the funny part, and I want to be clear that we're not worried about our G rating necessarily, but not having extensive pothead experience on my end, my understanding from movies, something I learned from movies, is that there's paraphernalia, and he was using one of the the little honey, the plastic bear honey squirty thingies. Yeah. He'd cut the top off and was using that as a bong. And so he had James Gandolfini came looking for someone, and he did a great stoner moment, a classic movie. Highly recommend seeing it. All right, well, that takes me to one of my other favorites. Are you ready for this one?
Ready.
Because I'll bet you the same movie pops into your head too, that it will pop into everyone. The Vent Escape. Because anyone can crawl through an air duct to sneak around buildings. But the reality is those things are typically 12 inches wide, full of fiberglass dust that would give you emphysema and probably drop you. And you make a noise like a marching band if you were to try to crawl through them. And not to mention if you've ever gotten sliced by that, what is that metal, that type of metal that they make air ducts out of? They don't have soft
metal.
Scrap.
Tin. It's that
tin.
There you go.
Yeah. And so, this appears in movie after movie, the most famous of which being, anybody thinking of the one I'm thinking of?
Ocean's 11.
That's a good one.
Die Hard.
Die Hard. Bruce Willis.
Okay, there you go.
Holding the line. And don't forget the classic scene, which actually is a great scene, Jurassic Park, which does...
Oh yeah.
Does tell you that I was. Yes. Well, and then when the thing fell and the velociraptor fell below the vent and jumped up, and I saw that movie on opening night with a theater full of people. They had it turned up to 11, as they would say in Spinal Tap, and it was so loud, and the entire audience screamed when that velociraptor jumped up towards that vent. But boys and girls, if you my advice to you would be don't get trapped in a building where there's terrorists or, Alan Rickman. Well, he's dead, so he won't turn up. Other charming villains, because you're not going to take the air vent out. So, Melissa, what's your next trope?
Well, this is probably also in the same movies, and that is you cannot use a car door as a bullet shield. I mean, it's not going to work. Thin metal, glass, they're not covered, they're decoration and that kind of thing. So, real shielding, why don't you go for the engine block? Or why don't you go in the wheels, like behind the wheels? Or why don't you just leave? Why are you sitting there behind a door? Get the hell out. So I just, don't.
Well, because you also know you can't get shot in the shins either, apparently. Just ask anybody who hides behind shields when they're getting shot in.
Bump up from the concrete and hit you in the head. I mean, really, just making sure that we don't confuse appearance with safety. That it's safety is safety. It's not a car door. So
I am super impressed that you not only acknowledged and recognized that the door is too thin. You gave solid advice about the engine block. That's right. That's next level. That's great.
That is. I will say though that if it was the car from Halloween 3, a la 1979 Oldsmobile, that door might have stopped the cruise missile.
Tuna boats were a class unto themselves. This is true.
Yeah, it's just check the car. At least check the car before you hide behind it. So, Steve, what's your next trope that we need to unlearn?
Oh, the next one is maybe just sour grapes. From the world of romance, the grand gesture.
Oh, I love the grand gesture.
Of course you love the grand gesture. Everyone loves the grand gesture, but it's not real. It's not the boombox over the head, the running across town to tell Sally that you love her at New Year's, the marching band scene and 10 Things I Hate About You. They're all fantastic, but they set an unreasonable bar for schmoes like me who just bought some flowers at Albertsons.
Wait. Are you trying to tell me that boom boxes don't repair conversations in real life?
No.
Wait, so I want to go back to you bought flowers at Albertsons. I just get flour at Circle K or 7-Eleven. The other ones that come in the plastic tubes.
You're a cheap bastard, aren't you?
It's probably costs the same.
It's just, and then I cut the plastic off and it just looks like a rose that I don't know. That's a really good one because, they always it usually ends up on an airplane, right? Where the guys run down through it, TSA and the whole 9 yards and without any issue. And then my favorite part is how thrilled everyone on the plane is, even though they've just missed their connecting flight because you couldn't get your stuff together in time to have had this conversation 15 minutes earlier. So, yeah. Great one. I do like that one a lot. Okay, so that was Steve's. That brings it back to me already, doesn't it?
It does. Yep. What you got?
Wow. I think I got plenty of gripes because this is a good one. You ready? The instant computer hacker.
Ooh.
Right? You can hack into the Pentagon by typing furiously and yelling, "I'm in." Reality check. Real hacking is 90% waiting, 9% coding, and 1% realizing you misspelled the password. Like, this is nonsense. One of my favorite scenes it happens in, you name it. Like, I think there was a whole movie that was based on this nonsense called Hackers, right? That guy in the 90s, I think.
There was.
And there's usually some like punky girl, right? Like it's some girl that's kind of, she's got like heavy mascara who's like happens to be the person who can tap in. She wears Doc Martens, or it's the kind of the nerdy guy who's into like manga, right? Or it's Ving Rhames in Mission Impossible. But they can control. They can control the stoplights in your city in the Die Hard movies. They can drain money from your bank account. I mean, they can pretty much do anything. But maybe the best of all time in a movie that I otherwise love. I mean, I hate to revisit Jurassic Park because I feel like I'm picking on it today, but it's a Unix system. I know this.
I took STEM class.
She brings it up. It just says it's a Unix system, and then all of a sudden, and of course I said, Unix system? EUNUCH. Oh, Unix system. I get it. Okay. And then also she's doing like the 3D fly around and she knows which buttons to push. And it drives this instant computer hacker crap drives me crazy. So folks, if you want to hack the Pentagon, I'm not advocating for it. Please, I don't need any long-term officials showing up with if you want to hack foreign adversaries' computers, you need to take a class or two. So just saying. Melissa, what's your next one?
I see your hacker thing, and I raise you to the red wire, blue wire genius moment, right?
Oh.
Right, where all of a sudden they take two wires and they're not sure if it's going to be the right wires, and it always is. What's up with that? How come we never had the wrong wires? Right?
Every one of those bombs is defective. None of them were going to blow in the first place.
I just want to say that real risk work is like checklists and schematics and people talking to each other. It's not a lone wolf heroic moment that is pretty much going to kill other people if you get it wrong. So, the red wire, blue wire just drives me crazy.
And the best part is it's usually happening in like an emergency setting where there's like red light, yellow light flashing in the background. So
blaring,
colors.
Everything's going to blow up.
It always happens in 5 seconds. So my advice is if you do find yourself in that situation, folks, and you've leaned into the movie trope and you're convinced that you're going to defuse this bomb by connecting the correct or disconnecting the correct wires, if you get to 10 seconds, don't think, oh, here it comes, just like in the movies. Think, here it comes. Yeah. And remember this cast and say farewell to whoever you've got, whatever your religion is, whatever, if you subscribe to the old duck and cover of movies from the 50s, we in our last podcast, jump into the curb in the street to
get under your desk. Yeah.
Because if you get under an engine block, get behind an engine block or a 78 Oldsmobile, or if you're Indiana Jones, you could get in a refrigerator.
Right. But
no. Survive. Last in I believe that was the 4th movie. That's it. Granted, it was an old school whirlpool, so I could see that happening. Steve, you got another one for us, or did Melissa take another one of yours?
No, I have one more. The idea that before the bad guy is going to shoot you, they're going to give you a long monologue about why they're going to shoot you. Explain their background, explain their story, whatever. People are going to shoot you. They're just going to shoot you. I don't think they're going to go into a speech explaining why. So,
not unless there's a big kahuna burger in the room.
Ooh.
Not unless there's a big kahuna burger in the room. Then they might.
Say what again?
Say what again?
Does my name look like what to you?
Now that is a tasty burger.
That is that's a good one, Steve. I think you're spot on, and I think we were primed on that from early on. From the almost like it was a bit like the Scooby-Doo cartoons, where at the end we're going to pull the mask off the monster, and it wasn't going to be a monster; it was going to be a guy, and he's going to tell the whole story. And I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for these meddling kids. But then the adult version of that is some guy, typically with a Russian accent or some accent that's indiscernible. Is going to tell you way more than he needs to tell you. So here's the advice that you need to take away from the episode is if you want to know what the motivation for the crime was, find out before you chase the bad guy into the warehouse, because he ain't going to tell you. Right? All right. Well, Steve, I got one more as well. Mine is one that it continues to turn up. I think I've mentioned before, I'm a big fan of British crime, police shows. I'm addicted to BritBox and all the great shows that come out. I tend to be a kind of, smarter. There's tend to get some smart stuff, but yet they continue to do this, and it's in every single movie. And it is the enhance this image moment, right? Where you can zoom in, blurry reflection in someone's sunglasses and read a license plate.
Can you sharpen that a little bit more?
Right. The reality check is a pixelated blob stays a pixelated blob. There is no magic clarity button. And even if you did use AI to enhance that, it would just have to make something up. because the data is not in the image. So any of these, like these movies, if you get a grainy from, CCTV, as they say in England, CCTV, what you're going to get is what you're going to get. You can go buy a big plasma TV. You can do anything you want. It's not getting any better. So the enhance this image trope ain't going to work. So invest in a better camera if you're looking to catch criminals.
So I'm hearing you say I can put the license plate back in my car for my.
Well, no, because what I didn't mention is the satellites can read your license plate. So it depends on who you're running from this time, Steve. So, Melissa, you have one more?
I have two more.
Whoa.
Point of personal privilege, right?
Giving one to Steve then.
Okay. All right. Well,
hey, go ahead.
Steve, maybe you gave me this one. That the door kick, in movies is actually, it's not a thing, guys. It is not a thing. Most interior doors are going to resist kicks, and you're just going to injure yourself, or you're going to make it worse. So I would say, in a real emergency, just call for help or coordinate for help. Don't do the stunt.
Challenge accepted.
Ooh, I love it.
I'll be back in a minute.
Now, I will say, though, that does point to a movie trope that is real, because you could just go full Jack Nicholson in The Shining and take an axe to the damn door.
Well, that's true.
It does work.
Carry your axe around the house is what you're saying.
Right. But don't murder family members. That I'm not endorsing that. So, and you've got one more from a good one. Bring us home with one last movie.
So, and this may be, I don't know, maybe it's boring. One of the things that just drives me crazy, and it's in a lot of teen movies, and I guess maybe in a lot of 80s movies, where, you have the montage that you get 0 to mastery in 1 minute. And it's, Mr. Miyagi is teaching him, and he's wax on, wax off, and 10 minutes into the movie, he's all of a sudden he is a master at karate. But real growth doesn't really look like that. It's tiny wins, it's plateaus. It's not just instant montage to mastery. So
I have technology on that one. I feel like most people know that the montage is a longer period of time that's been condensed down for movie purposes. We know that happened a long period of time.
Also,
it's true. It's true, but it drives me crazy.
Yeah. Although I do think you're both right, because I think it is a longer period of time. However, it's still a bit misleading, because it implies the amount of time it would take the bad guys to get from point A to point B. Even though it was a stretched out amount of time, it still had enough time, if you were the A team, to build a castle. As long as you played a cool 80s song, preferably sung by Kenny Loggins or Frank Stallone, there's no easy way out, there's no shortcut home. If you power the song,
Rocky, right?
But I will admit, that no matter how much training Ralph Macchio did, that could have been 3 years condensed. There's no way he's beating Johnny Lawrence.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, after 2 minutes, no way.
You guys are really ruining Karate Kid for me, so thanks for that. You took a pillar of my childhood away. Well, That brings us to the end of our unlearning session on movie tropes. Thanks for unlearning with us, but it's okay to enjoy the illusion. That's the message we want to close with, is it's okay to enjoy the illusion, as long as you don't try any of it at home. So, always love to talk about movies. This was just a great excuse to dive into some movies and do some unlearning while we were at it. And that brings us to our final segment. And Steve has, as our guest, we want to keep him around, because I'm sure he's got some insight or some things that he might want to add. Is the Stuck in My Crawl segment. For those of you who don't know, the Stuck in My Crawl segment is where Melissa and I crawl up into that balcony in the theater, just like the two old men in the Muppets, and just mocking mercilessly things that bothered them, right? And so we just wanted a way to vent random things. And we had some fun last week with mine was people who stay naked much longer than they need to in the locker room. By the way, I saw quite a few more of those this week. You know how they say if you buy a Toyota, you see Toyotas on the road? Well, if you do a podcast episode about excessively naked people, you see a lot of excessively naked people At least they were in the locker room at the gym. And then you did fork tines. I'd yet to see a fork tine that's crooked, but it sounds like a horrifying
They drive me nuts. They still drive me nuts. It's not my crawl for this week, but it still drives me nuts.
Well, my crawl for this week, I'm finding some of my crawls are coming from the gym because this one's another gym one. And although I have seen them outside of the gym, but can we say goodbye to beast mode t-shirts, please?
And honestly, I have to say, what the hell is a beast mode t-shirt? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, so it's a t-shirt and it says beast mode on the front of it. And it is to give off, you walk by and it usually leaves wet spots on the equipment because there's liquid testosterone still just ripping from the bench that the person was sitting on. It's an announcement to the world that you have entered beast mode and you are not messing around. And so you're at the gym to, matter of fact, you're so locked in that you made sure you went and found yourself a t-shirt and got it nice and laid out to match your socks that says beast mode on it, because that's all you're locked in on. So, the beast mode t-shirt, it needs to go. You know where it belongs? It belongs in that same box. You remember those, like if you haven't seen these, go to a Giants games, because I think the fans still wear them at those games. Those zebra pants, those big baggy, like and what are they?
Hammer pants?
Those things. And they wear like red and blue, and you'll still see Giant fan with his Lawrence Taylor jersey and his red and blue pants. They used to wear those to the gym. Dudes back when it used to be like, the Nautilus and Bouvets, and it was a new thing. These beast mode t-shirts need to go right next to those in the trunk of Farewell. So that's my call for today. What about you, Melissa?
Between the nudity in the gym and the beast mode shirts, I feel like your gym is a portal to 2008, because I don't see those things at my gym at all. Maybe I'm just not paying attention, but I'll assume that maybe I'm just not paying attention.
I think A, you're more tolerant, and B, all gyms are a portal to 20 years ago or so, because we're all trying to go backwards in time. We were younger and more fit. But and maybe, I am trying to become a more decent human being. There was a guy next to me today at the gym who had his headphones on, and dude was dancing while he was doing cable pulls, literally dancing. And my first instinct, because I never stopped being a sixth grade girl, apparently, is to go, oh my God, look at this guy. What is he doing? Oh my God, he looks ridiculous. And I thought, you know what? What am I doing? This guy is having way more fun than I am. I'm like, good for you, man. You're having a good time. And at least you're not wearing a beast mode t-shirt. But if it comes between beast mode t-shirt and no clothes, take the beast man t-shirt. So what's stuck in your crawl, Melissa?
Mike, I'm going to give that a 7.
Oh, that's nice. Very
all
nice.
Right, number. You know what sticks in my crawl? People who bring numbers to the podcast. Melissa, what's stuck in your crawl today?
So I've been doing a lot of traveling lately for NREA, and I have been on a lot of planes, in a lot of airports. And so things that are just driving me crazy right now they have to do with that. So if you are a middle seat traveler, you get both armrests, full stop. It is not a perk. It's hazard pay, honestly. The window gets the wall. The aisle gets the leg room. They get the early access out. They get the easy to the bathroom. Middle gets elbows. And this is how civilization holds. When you are in the aisle, you should not be playing. Sneak the forearm on the armrest. It's, we're about to start micro wars at 30,000 feet that way. So really just share space like a grown-up, and we'll all land happier. So that's first.
You look like he agreed with you. I saw.
I know. I'm like, what the heck? Obviously, there's
two
a
things.
difference of opinion.
I'll give you, if it's on the armrest, don't go over the armrest. You don't get to come into my space because you bought your ticket too late to get an aisle or empty, right? That's kind of your punishment for waiting too long, or for flying Southwest where you don't get to pick your seat. Because if I'm on the aisle and you're pushing over. Now I'm in the aisle and I'm getting hit by people in cars. So
I will give you that. Yes, you should stay on your square.
All right.
I do subscribe to that, Melissa. I always give the, but then again, at my size, my arms don't usually reach the armrests anyway, so I don't have to worry about bumping into other people's faces. Matter of fact, I am the ideal airport. Like, if you're on a plane and you see me, call me over. You want me sitting next to you. I don't take up a lot of space.
Me either.
So I am the guy that I always say that to people. I'm like, is that taken? I don't take up a lot of space, and I don't say a word the whole
I'm
trip.
going to have my earphones in. I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to try to talk to you. I'll leave
I
you
will
alone.
not pull its cotton candy in planes, trains, and automobiles. And so, yeah.
Okay, so there's that. I have another craw.
Oh, wow. Double crawl.
Yeah, because this has been happening in airports before we get on the plane. Speakerphone in public, people. You guys need to know we can hear both sides of your conversation, and I am not an involuntary member of your conversation. Earbuds exist. And so if you are not in your war room, it's confidential. Step outside. If it's not, lower your voice. I mean, we can all survive not knowing that Todd's fourth quarter pipeline report is due next week while we order our own lattes. So really, stop the speakerphone thing. It drives me nuts.
The solution to that, or a response to that, Melissa, is this. Just getting near that, I'm going, "Your next stage is destiny."
I like that. I might have to use that.
That's a pretty good one. Give it up for Destiny. I like that one. That's pretty good. You did sneak preview another one of my gripes I was going to save for later that is gym related as well.
I got a 9. Take that.
The first one was a 7. The last one was a 10. I gave you a 9.
Okay. All right.
But to be fair, she got more than I got. So she got 2 bites.
You got to take the risk. Go for it.
He's like the kid that stepped up to the T-ball thing, swung at it the first time, and then on the backswing clocked that ball the second base. And then ran it out because that little 5-year-old at second couldn't complete a throw to first. Not that I'm speaking of my lived experience. Hey, Steve, did you have any crawl, or did you lean in on our crawls?
I have only one, because I'm really trying not to let things get to me. I'm trying not to, Serenity Now is, part of my life. But I really have a hard time not losing it while driving. And I will say that the one thing that is really frustrating me right now is we in the Valley here, the winter months, get 300,000-400,000 more visitors. So what better time to do road construction than when our population has increased significantly? So when Arizona secedes from the Union, and I'm the czar of Arizona, you got to ban all winter road projects. I don't care how hot it is in the summer. We're going to done in the summer when no one's here.
That sounds like a good plan.
I like that idea a lot. Yeah.
You can order those czar Cossack cats.
Dance the den.
I'll let you design it, Mike.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm going to let you design it.
Oh, I just won you one of mine. So that concludes our Stuck in My Crawl segment. And I think we've brought some really valid points to the table. When he started to say that about driving, I thought, well, boy, sounds like somebody needs to listen to our prior episode on attribution bias. Did you think that, Melissa?
Yeah. Just stop and think. Don't use your sloppy copy.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, but before we close up, we did say in the last episode, you remember I was wearing the Devo shirt.
Yeah. Please do share. Which are we going with this episode?
Well, this is in honor of, I mentioned this is one of my favorite artists last time, if not my favorite artist. And can you read it?
The White Print.
So this is Jack White. And I thought, you know what? Even though I just mentioned Jack White, the White Stripes were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a week or so ago. I'm
not keeping up on my Hall of Fame inductees.
Well,
thank you for the input there.
We'll keep you in the loop. But so congratulations to the White Stripes and Jack White, who I'm sure is also listening to this podcast. Probably with law enforcement after the last episode where I dropped the Glenn Close line from Fatal Attraction and asked what a restraining order was when I talked about Jack White. But so stay tuned. If you're watching us on the YouTube, who knows what concert I'm going to wear one to every episode. I'm sure that's going to bring in that second viewer. That's what's going to do. It's going to bring my dad in.
American Eagle, Mike, Melissa, American Eagle, in case you got care.
Banana waffle.
And there you go. I do like your jersey there. That's pretty sweet. That's looking good. Well, that is going to complete our second episode here. We are planning on mixing in, the last episode, like we mentioned, was on attribution bias, some really, really good stuff about things that we just take for granted as part of our schema about how we look at the world. And that's what we're going to be diving into with regularity, but we'll always do it with a dose of humor and some fun.
And some sweet guests like Steve.
Sweet guests like Steve. And maybe Steve will come back if you promise not to do more of his stuff. And so we'll be doing ones like that. We'll do ones like this, have some fun with the lighthearted episodes as well. So if you're feeling like, hey, you had to work quite the week at work and you're not feeling up to the heavy ones, tune into the lighthearted ones. But either way, tune in. You can find us on all of the major podcast platforms, professionally produced by our hero, Shiro, who does all the amazing work. And although, can we look into a makeup person? Because I am not liking what I'm seeing. Do we have...
Are you calling me out? What the heck?
Well, I'm me. You guys, you're fine.
I'm in a cage.
Right? No, it's so rude.
No, I'm not talking about you. You look fine. You look.
Wow.
You've had.
Wow.
Plus, you had years of practice of doing your own perfect makeup.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like, oh my God, this is what I look like. I thought I was in a conference call with my father for a minute, and
That's awesome.
But so if we can get this podcast up there and start, making big bucks on it, I'm going to get myself a makeup artist.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys spend your cuts on whatever you want.
5 stars, folks. Even if you hated this episode, still give us 5 stars, because then people can find us. And if there are people that really like our sense of humor, that would be so sad if they couldn't. So give us 5 stars.
Yeah, because God knows my mom is only going to stay tuned for so long, and
Right.
we're going to need other people because she's going to drop out of this after a while. So if she's even made it this far. So that concludes episode 2. Thank you. We are excited for our next episode, where we're going to get back into a little bit heavier topic, where we'll have fun with it, but we're going to talk about history and did we get it all wrong on how we have taught our next generations about history over the decades, over the century. Have we approached it in the wrong way? Have we put the emphasis on the wrong things? And have we achieved the ends that we sought to achieve when we talk about why do we teach history? And how are we doing with that? And did we miss the boat? And do we need to rethink it? So everyone has experience. So this would relate to anybody who went to school. Will have a lot to think about and a lot to say about the topic. We've talked about before, for this particular podcast, unlike our prior one, you do not need to be an educator. This is not an educator-themed podcast. This is a general audience podcast, but we will bring that slice of life that we had as educators. But we all have that overlap with our schooling and our prior experience. So we'll be talking about that in our next episode. So tune in. Remember, 5 stars. Check us out. Like, subscribe. We will see you next time, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.